This is Joseph Drust, and welcome back to another episode of Ask ZBrush. So we had a question sent in asking, how can I install a Z plugin I downloaded from the Resource Center? So to start off, I just have ZBrush loaded up, and I just have a polysphere loaded in. And the question is asking about Z plugins and ones that are specifically downloaded from the Resource Center, how to go by installing them. So when you launch ZBrush, there'll be this little tab at the top here called ZPlugin. And if you open this up, there's going to be various tools in here that'll help automate some of the functions inside of ZBrush. So these can contain anything from taking your model and decimating it to a lower polygon count, to having it ready for scale, and also even for 3D printing. So lots of little items live in the ZPlugin area. So let's say I have one of these plugins, say the ZBrush to Photoshop plugin here, and let's say I want to see if there's an update or maybe just download another plugin to add to ZBrush on the Pixelogic Resource Center. So to do this, I'm just going to close ZBrush here, and then I'm just going to open up a browser window and navigate to pixelogic.com. And after you're at pixelogic.com, you want to come across the top here and go to the Support tab and open this, and then in here you'll find a link to the Resource Center. After you're at the Resource Center, you want to scroll down a little bit here, and you have a few more tabs. We're looking for the ZBrush plugin tab here. So clicking on that will take us to the ZBrush plugin area. In here, we'll have a list of plugins. The plugins at the top of this page will be plugins that have been included with the default installation of ZBrush. And as you scroll through these plugins, if any of these plugins have a download link, there may be an update that you can install to upgrade your current version. So if I scroll down here to the bottom to the ZBrush to Photoshop plugin here, you'll see there is a download link. So there is an update to that plugin that I can download and install. Now before we go and download that, also of note on this page, if you keep scrolling down, there are some additional plugins that do not ship with ZBrush. So these plugins will do a variety of things, so a bunch of automated processes that can be done with the existing version of ZBrush. And you can download these and install them to your version of ZBrush and then use them in the Z Plugins tab. So I'm going to scroll back up here to the ZBrush to Photoshop area, and I'm just going to download the update here. So I'm going to click on Download. This is going to pop up this little dialog asking me to save. So I'm just going to click Save File. Then I'm just going to navigate to my desktop, and I'm just going to save the zip file there. So just clicking Save, and this will now download. Now I'm going to minimize my browser here, and on my desktop I should have a zip file. So now I can double click this to open it up. In the zip file that you download, you'll see there'll be a folder and then also a README file. If you double click on the README file, this should open up, and you'll also have the instructions on how to install the plugin and also some various troubleshooting information. So if your plugin is not working initially, check the README file, and then in here there may be some different solutions for your issue. If not, you can always submit a support ticket in relation to the plugin to support.pixelogic.com. So what we want to look at in the zip file here is the folder. So I'm just going to take this folder and just drag it to the desktop, which is going to extract it. And then I'm just going to close the zip. Now, if I double click this folder here and open this up, you can see this is what is in the folder. So I have a ZBrush to Photoshop data _2020 folder, and then a ZBrush to Photoshop _2020.zsc file. So this is the script here for the plugin, and then these are the files that the plugin uses. So what I want to do is I want to copy these two items. So I'm going to come across here and copy these. So just right click and go to copy. And then now I want to navigate to my Pixelogic ZBrush directory. So on Windows, this is located at Windows, Program Files, Pixelogic, ZBrush 2020. On OS X, this will be located in your Applications directory, and then you should have a ZBrush OS X 2020. Now, once you're in the ZBrush 2020 folder, what we need to do is we need to go to the Z Startup folder, and then we need to go to the Z Plugs 64. So now I'm in the plugin area inside the Pixelogic directory. Now, since the plugin for ZBrush to Photoshop has already been installed, what I need to do is I need to remove the old version before I copy over the updated one. So in here, I need to locate the files that match. So I have a ZBrush to Photoshop data folder here. So I need to select that. And then I also want to select that ZBrush to Photoshop.zsc file. So once I have both these selected in that Z Startup ZPlug 64 directory, I just want to delete those. Put them in the trash can there. Now I have these copied already. You could also just drag these over, but I want to make sure that these two items, the folder and the ZSC file, go in this directory. So I'm just going to right click and paste these. And this is now going to paste the updated version of the plugin there. Now, one thing to note with these plugins, all these plugins have this naming convention of data, then underscore 2020. So if you have any folders in here that may not be for the 2020 version of ZBrush, say like a 4R8 or a 4R7, these plugins may have the potential to cause issues inside of ZBrush 2020. So if you notice anything strange happening inside of ZBrush, double check to make sure you don't have any old plugins from previous versions of ZBrush installed in your current version. Now, after you have the plugin copied over and installed, now we just need to relaunch ZBrush. So I'm going to go back to the ZBrush 2020 directory here, and I'm just going to do this manually through here. So I'm going to come across my ZBrush application, and then I'm just going to double click to launch ZBrush. And after ZBrush launches, I should be able to navigate to the ZPlugin area here, and the plugin should be active, and now I should be able to use it with the updated version. Now let's go through this process one more time, and this time I'm going to download a plugin that I do not have installed. So the process I just went through was with updating a version of a plugin that you have installed already. So let's go through the process of adding one as well. So before we do anything with the ZStartup ZPlugins directory, you want to make sure you close ZBrush. So I'm coming over here and close ZBrush. And then I'm going to navigate back to the Pixelogic Resource Center on pixelogic.com. And now let's say I'm going to install the Layer Brush Depth plugin here. So I'm going to come across this plugin. I'm going to click this download option here. This is going to do the same process where it's going to ask me to save this file. So I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to save this to my desktop. Just save that there. And now I'm going to minimize my browser, close this window. And now on my desktop, I should have that zip file, the Layer Brush Depth plugin here. Double click that to open it up. In here, you can see I have a README file and that install folder. I want to copy the installed folder to my desktop. Now I want to open the installed folder. In here, we have that folder that contains the data 2020, and then we also have our Layer Brush Depth 2020 ZSC file. So now I'm going to navigate back to my Pixelogic ZBrush 2020 directory. I'm going to go to the ZStartup area, ZPlug64. Now I'm going to come over here, and this time I'm just going to do a drag. So I'm going to select both of these and drag them over to that ZPlug64 directory. So you can see now both of these are now in that ZPlug64. So I have the ZSC at the root of the ZPlug64 folder, and then I have the Layer Brush Depth data folder. Now after those are in there, now I just need to relaunch ZBrush. So go back to the root of ZBrush there, scroll down, find the ZBrush application, and double click. After ZBrush launches, I can go to the ZPlugin tab at the top here, and you will see that the Layer Brush Depth plugin has now been installed. So that is the process of going through and downloading a plugin off the ZBrush Resource Center, and then installing it inside of ZBrush and allowing you to use it. If you have any other questions related to ZBrush pipelines or processes, please use the hashtag AskZBrush on Twitter. Happy ZBrushing!